see it start to develop out here?
Yeah, I mean, our schedule, when you talk around to guys around the league, like, our schedule is probably the most, if you want to say, like, brutal, with how many days in a row we go and how hard we practice. And it's a great thing. Obviously, Sean's had a lot of success with it, practicing that way. And really you talk about the mental focus that it takes to come out here every single day, the mental toughness, and that's really what we develop out here, going day in and day out. We callous ourselves, which is what we like to say. But yeah, I think it's beneficial. I think it's great to have a day like this where it's like, especially when you have new special teams rules like the kickoff return, like, hey, let's get it live and see what it feels like before we go into even just Indianapolis in the preseason, and see what it's like.
Greg Dulcich healthy. What does he look like out there, especially from a tight end's perspective?
Yeah, he looks great. He looks explosive. He looks fast. It's a very hard position to be in when you're injured, and not even when you're just injured, when you're away from the team, when you're on IR, you're not around anybody, you're doing your own thing. Greg last season, credit him, like when he's fighting all of his injuries, like he's in here until 8 o'clock. He's the last one here doing all of his treatment and everything. And, like I'm really proud of him. I'm good friends with him. And it's great to see him come out here and be like, yeah, that's what you looked like last year before you got injured. And, he's continuing to get better. Obviously, he's got to get back into like just football mode because he's been out of it for a little bit. But credit to him, he's worked his tail off, and I'm super proud of him. And it makes me happy to see him, come out here and make plays and continue to progress.
You've been around. See Jarrett get better from last year. Obviously, you worked behind the scenes a lot last year. Where have you seen him improve?
I think he's so decisive. Like he understands coverage as well. He's got great control of the huddle as well. And there's a confidence that goes into that as an offense when you step into huddle with someone who's like, hey, this is what we're doing. Hey, listen up. Like someone who's really in control of it. And I'd say decisiveness. Like he's always been able to make the throws and everything, but like he's very tuned in to, hey, this isn't going to be here. Let's get to the next progression, whatever. So he looks great.
You've been around Lucas Pro for most of the time since he came into the league. What have you seen him do differently this year that maybe he wasn't last year and the year before?
I think naturally he's always been super gifted, very fast. He's obviously a bigger guy, but more attention to detail. Like he was when he came in his rookie year, I was in New Orleans with him. Obviously, he was kind of raw and just kind of like he played the position, but the intricacies of it, he didn't really have too much. Like he wasn't very locked into them as much. Now it's way different. Like he knows exactly what he's seeing. He knows what he's doing. He's willing in the run game now to put his head in there and everything, which is a huge thing. But yeah, I mean, he's progressed. Like I've talked about Greg, like Lucas has done a hell of a job as well.
How's Bo doing recognizing things and making adjustments?
He's doing great. I think the biggest thing with him, people talk about all the games he started in college, obviously. Like, I think that truly means something. You see it in the way he commands a huddle and the way he steps up into the pocket where he can find his voids and his throwing lanes. Like, that's an experience thing. And a lot of guys coming out might not have that because they played in 20, 30 games. Bo's played, I think, like 60, 61, whatever it is. So, I mean, he's obviously been doing very well.
Sean asks a lot of his quarterbacks at the line of scrimmage, especially like even in the run game. Is that a challenge for Bo or Jared? How does that play out for you guys in terms of the run game and them getting you guys in the right play?
Yeah, I think our coaching staff has done a great job simplifying like our identification system at the line of scrimmage and everything like that. And it's made it like the quarterbacks are going through it really well, and they've done a really good job. So, but that's a credit to the coaching staff. They've really cleared things up for us and what it's been in the past to make it flow better as an offense.
Maybe even a year ago?
Maybe a little bit, yeah, for sure.
Bo also seems willing to kind of make those tight window throws. Does that also stand out in terms of a rookie and kind of a normal ability to do that sort of thing?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, there comes a point where you want, obviously, someone to be smart with the ball and checking it down and everything, but it also shows, like, I mean, you want to play with someone who's a game, like, he can do that stuff. Like, and it makes you feel good about it. Like, he's willing to take the, I don't want to say risk, but he's willing to do it. So, yeah, I think that also obviously comes from experience. He's seen all these windows because of how much he's played.
Last one for Nick. Adam, what's a nuance of your position or an aspect of your position that maybe the general football watching public doesn't fully appreciate?
Yeah, I think that's a good question. I think I guess, like the mental capacity it takes to play this position. Obviously, some guys might be more receiving than blocking than receiving, but tight end, I would say, and people would probably argue with me about this in the locker room, but mentally, like, O-line's, I'd say center, it goes quarterback, center, and I would say tight end's next. Like, you have to know run game, pass game, protection, and you got to be damn good at all of it to last in this league. So I would say people don't realize that. And then you go into games, and generally the guys you're blocking are bigger than you, stronger than you. Like, that's just how it is. So there's so many different technique things you got. Like in our division, think about Max Crosby, Khalil Mack, Joey Bosa, George Karlaftis, Mike Dana. Like these guys, like they're terrific players and they're bigger, they're stronger than you. But like how you go in and attack a film room and you're like, hey, this is what this guy likes to do against this. Like picking up on tendencies and everything. I think it's very cerebral. I don't think people realize that.
Do you get frustrated that fantasy league tends to measure tight ends sometimes? Whoever gets the fantasy league points, people think they're the best tight ends.
Yeah, thanks for asking that. Yeah, I don't care. I really could give I couldn't care less about fantasy. I mean, yeah, that's a whole nother topic.
You're not necessarily a fantasy league.
No,
tight end.
and people, obviously a lot of the general public, I think, would see that and they gauge a lot of how good you are off of fantasy, but I mean, you don't really, that's not really how it is. So call it what it is. Yeah, thanks guys.